The ship's doctor and Azura were romantically involved? She has lines.
Oh, that's my theory, but I don't actually know if that's really true. If it's really true.
Azura would never get involved with that god-awful ship's doctor. But I do admit, they were friends. But would Azura send Dr. Crab videos, I wonder? Videos? What do you mean? Azura used to send her boyfriend videos of herself teaching the orca tricks. I used to help Azura take the videos on her TV phone. This is an interesting bit of information.
Wait, when did we learn this?
What?
About, not this, but,
Dr. Crab and her potentially being involved?
Yeah.
The investigation. It was literally the last thing.
I must have zoned out on it. I think that was the point where I was falling asleep.
You were zoning out because you were probably tired.
Yeah. I've had a rough couple weeks.
So TV phones could shoot videos too, huh? My dumb phone sure can't.
Well, it's because yours is...
These TV phones are amazing. They can even record sounds you and I can't hear. All the equipment we use at Ship Shape Aquarium is high-tech. The ship's doctor sends away for all kinds of electronics. You know, you just revealed something very offhandedly there, Sasha. The fact that it can record sounds that people can't hear. Like, say, a whistle?
Yeah.
So all the high-tech stuff is Dr. Crab's doing, huh? Anyway, I still highly doubt Azura's boyfriend was the ship's doctor. But Dr. Crab found a charm yesterday, and he was really shaken by it. Charm? Hey, leave that alone! That belonged to Azura! What was Azura's charm doing in rival stuff? That charm looked just like your keepsake of Azura. Yeah, well, she did say she and her boyfriend had matching charms. Were the ship's doctor and Azura really a couple? I can't believe it. I think Dr. Crab will be called as a witness today. There are still so many unanswered questions. I hope I solve them all in today's trial. I believe in you two. I know you can do it.
And we will, Sasha. We promise.
Yeah, don't worry. What about the third guy? What third guy? July 22nd, 9:30 a.m. Ooh, cool. District Court, courtroom number 4.
It's 0 in bloodthirsty mode.
Day 2. Court is now in session. All rise. Court is now in session for the trial of Sasha Buckler. The defense is ready.
Ready.
Now I'm completely thrown off. Very good. It appears both the prosecution and the defense are ready. Yesterday, it was proven that the orca was not guilty and that the victim fell to his death. Prosecutor Blackwell, did your investigation of the orca pool area turn up anything?
It did. We found a bloodstain from the victim at the bottom of the pool. On this.
Oh my, what a frightening looking rock. And you say it has a bloodstain on it? Just looking at it gives me the willies. So can we assume that there was no water in the pool at the time of the incident?
Very good. What a clever little deduction.
Ho ho, well it's nice to get a compliment from the prosecution for a change.
Prosecutor Blackwell has completely tamed the judge with his carrot and stick approach.
I guess I should have brought a few carrots of my own.
Right. Moving along, I have prepared a witness. Buckler was the only one who entered that room when there was no water in the pool. The witness will prove that. Come to the stand, witness. Name and occupation.
Dr. Herman Sniper, stay in there! And who is that cute little creature?
Such a restless bird. Quite unlike Taka.
Wow. Chalk one up for Taka. He shut Sniper up with a single sound. Son of a gun. Dr. Herman Crab, Shipshape Aquarium's veterinarian. And could you tell us the name of your cute little friend there as well?
Your Honor, please focus on the case.
It's just a name. Give me this. But it's important to learn all we can about the witness. This is Sniper. She's the offspring of a penguin named Rifle. Sniper lives in my hair. She might cause a commotion now and then, but please try to ignore her.
I was originally going to call the animal keeper to the stand. But he refused to testify, so I settled on the veterinarian. Now tell us, why was the defendant in the orca pool room when the water was drained?
I'm going to assume you don't take your mother for an answer. In the early morning hours of July 20th, Sasha was cleaning the orca pool room. Sasha and Jack Shipley, the owner, were scheduled to do the cleaning together. During cleaning, the pool water was drained. While the cleaning was going on, Marlon was taking care of the orca in the show pool. The pool water would never be drained unless the pool was being cleaned. And your claim is that the victim was made to fall to his death during the cleaning?
Only Buckler and the owner had security card necessary to enter the orca pool room. And we already know from the security company's record of the card usage that the defendant was in the orca pool during the time of the cleaning. The witness's testimony and record of security card usage are conclusive evidence.
So no one beside the defendant was at the scene, and the water in the pool was drained. Uh-oh. The judge already seems to be leaning toward the other side. When has this ever been any different, Phoenix?
We have to strike fast. Your Honor, I'm ready for a cross-examination now.
Oh, yes, of course. Please proceed then. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I get how it is. The power of youth comes in handy at times like these. You're 34. Cut yourself some slack. You're not old.
Just like I'm not old.
Just...
Old!
Old. Ha ha. Old. The pool water would never be drained unless the pool was being cleaned.
Hold it!
There's no possibility it would be drained at any other time other than during cleaning? None. Ugh, shot down with a single word. Why are you so certain? Think about it. If the pool water were drained, what would happen to the orca?
What thing?
Whose side are you on, Athena? Exactly, young lady. Without water, Orla would be alright for a short period of time, but anything longer than that would pose serious risks. She could even die. So the fact that Orla is alive and well is proof the water wasn't drained on her? On her? That's right. The orca pool and the show stage pool are next door to each other. The hoist runs between the two to move the orca and equipment back and forth. When intensive cleaning is done, the orca, nice picture by the way, is moved to the show stage pool first. So the water is only drained while the pool is being cleaned. Please add that information to your testimony. If there were no water in the pool, the orca could die.
Not from what we did.
I don't know. If the pool water is drained, the orca seems perfectly fine here. So there could have been a spot where he would have dropped to his death while the orca was still...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Objection!
If the water in the pool is drained, you say the orca could die. But is that necessarily true? What are you talking about? There is a way to let the water out without harming the orca, isn't there? Your Honor, please allow me to submit this photograph. Look at this photograph.
I'll be right back.
Oh, this is... As you can see, there is no water around the Skull Rock area. With the pool in the state, the victim could have been made to fall to his death. However, there is water on the other side of the partition. And Orla looks just fine. Son of a gun. In other words, if the partition is set up at the bottom of the pool, the water can be drained without doing Orla any harm. Are you implying the water could have been drained at a time other than during cleaning? Yes, there is that possibility.
Dr. Crab is shaking. Looks like he has something to hide. Does it have something to do with the calendar note about meeting with the victim?
It might. I'll submit it to the judge. Your Honor, please take a look at this calendar. Look at this calendar! Ah, you waved that around in court yesterday. No need to drag out your souvenir today. Actually, I would like you to make note of the entry for the day of the incident. Let me see here. Meet the captain at the Orca pool at 7 a.m. This note is about the meeting planned with the victim. What? The defense would like to argue that at the time of that meeting, the pool may have been drained of its water. Whose calendar is that? It belongs to Dr. Herman Crab. Isn't that right, Dr. Crab? Son of a gun. So you suspect me, do you? What is the meaning of this calendar entry, Dr. Crab? Explain yourself. Fine. I was supposed to meet Jack at the Orca pool at that time, but I ended up not going. So you're saying you simply broke your promise? You can't get out of that easily. I believe you have some explaining to do.
Objection!
Your blade is sharper than I thought, Wright Dono. But your cut was shallow, a mere surface scratch. 'Tis but a scratch. There's a saying amongst prisoners, do not see, hear, nor speak to smooth-talking lawyers. If you think the witness is suspicious, show your proof. Under alone isn't good enough, huh? To prove the victim could have fallen to his death at that 7 a.m. meeting time.
Let's put our heads together, boss. The victim could have fallen during cleaning when the pool was completely drained. Or, using the partition, it could have been at 7 a.m. with the water partially drained. What would be the major difference in circumstances between these two possibilities?
What circumstance was different? The answer could really tell us something. What circumstance was different between the two possibilities of cleaning and 7 a.m.? The Orca was there. If the murder occurred at the time other than during the cleaning, the Orca must have been there.
Oh, you're right. And that would mean that Orla witnessed the murder.
What's this? You're sheathing your sword so soon? Stop yammering to each other and show me how you wield your sword. All right then, my sword is poised and ready. If the murder was committed at the time other than during cleaning time, then Orla must have been present at the scene. If I can prove that the murder happened right in front of Orla, then I can prove that Miss Buckler is not guilty. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, are you implying that the Orca was a witness to the crime? That is exactly what I'm implying. And? How do you intend to prove the Orca witnessed the murder? What are you going to do? Put the Orca on the stand and cross-examine her? This is a critical point. I'd better think about it carefully. The defense will present evidence. The defense will present evidence. Evidence that will prove Orla witnessed the murder. You're going to present evidence? Knowing the defense, I thought surely you would try to cross-examine the Orca. I must say I'm a little disappointed. We all are, but don't worry. Don't worry. It'll come. Geez, sorry to get your hopes up, Your Honor. Again, later. Very well. Let's see this evidence, then. What evidence shows that the murder took place right in front of the Orca? It's the exact same thing we presented before. We sprayed luminol on the Orca, remember? And there were blood stains on the Orca. It's on Orla herself.
Take that!
This photo indicates where we discovered luminol reactions yesterday. By accident, we got some of the luminol testing fluid on Orla. We were then very surprised to see luminol reactions on Orla's body.
Objection!
So what's of it? There's nothing odd about that. As was discussed in yesterday's trial, the orca was bleeding. Traces of the orca's blood were also found on the skull rock. The orca must have injured herself when she rammed the rock. So that cloud of blood Mr. Plume saw was from Orla headbutting the skull rock, was it? Interesting. Those luminol reactions you saw on the orca are most likely from her headbutting.
Objection!
But that's odd. But what's odd is the position of those bloodstains. Please take a good look at the photograph. Yesterday, Mr. Plume said the blood disappeared when Orla put on the hat. That testimony indicated that Orla's injuries were under the hat area. However, these luminol reactions are in two entirely separate areas from her injuries. These bloodstains can't be Orla's own blood from when she was headbutted. Then where did the blood come from? It's my firm belief that it's the victim's blood. The victim was killed right in front of Orla, and the victim's blood splattered onto Orla's body. Ah! What bullshit is this? Now it finally all makes sense. Orla was the witness to the murder, so that's why.
Orla? Boss, something's wrong with Orla.
What? You're what? You're right. She's listless, and she's sinking. There's one more fact that indicates Orla was a witness to the murder. There's more? The culprit was afraid Orla could somehow reveal what she witnessed. And that's why they did what they did. It's the only thing that makes sense. I have to present that evidence. That evidence that proves the culprit thought Orla was a dangerous witness. The sleeping pill. Because Dr. Crab claimed he would use it to put her to sleep if he had to. If she's a pivotal witness, he could use it to silence her.
Take that!
The defense would like to submit this evidence. What's this? It looks like some sort of medicine. It's a sleeping drug, Your Honor. A very powerful one. This sleeping drug was discovered in Orla's stomach yesterday. The culprit tried to drown Orla by putting her into a deep sleep. Tried to drown Orca? But why? Right, Dono. Are you trying to tell this court that the perpetrator tried to kill the Orca off to prevent a witness from talking? Do you really expect to defeat me with that feeble attack? My sword has been drawn. I'm not about to sheathe my evidence now. Orcas have an enormous potential for intelligence. The possibility that Orla could somehow manage to reveal the truth can't be denied. The culprit believed in this possibility, and that's why they tried to kill him. Dr. Herman Crab, you purchased this sleeping drug, didn't you? What? Does this mean the veterinarian tried to do away with the orca? Who but a veterinarian would better know how to disguise an orca's death? He could even prevent the police from examining Orla's body. Why, you... Are you actually accusing me of trying to murder the orca? How dare you! You slander the noble profession of veterinarian! My goodness, one could cut the tension in this courtroom with a knife. Yes, I admit to purchasing that sleeping drug. However, it was subsequently stolen from my lap.
That's such a policy excuse.
It's the truth. What else can I say? Any one of the crew members could have entered my lab. I guess that weakens my evidence quite a bit. Besides, think about it for a minute. Who was it that treated Orla after she swallowed the drug? It was I. But as I recall, it took you quite a while to get that treatment. You didn't even come on your own. We had to go get you. Son of a gun. You just remember all sorts of little details, don't you, Mr. Boyd? The orca pool and the lab are far apart. It's little wonder he didn't know Orla's condition. Yeah,
Objection!
it's also a flimsy excuse. Didn't know? That's highly doubtful. As far apart as they are, Dr. Crabbe still had a way to know all about Orla's condition. The defense would like to submit evidence that the witness knew about Orla's condition. Torpedo data!
Take that!
Gotcha, bitch! The torpedo. You just had to bring that up, didn't you? With this advanced data system, surely you would have known Orla's condition.
Oops, she fucked up.
Objection!
Why?
One of the spices has gluten in it. Oops, so now I can't have the chicken.
Wait just 1 minute. What is this torpedo? Dr. Crabbe, how dare you bring a weapon of mass destruction into my courtroom? The torpedo, or Tele-Observational Real-Time Pertinent Data Organizer, is a data system.
Can you tell he likes his weapons?
Yeah. Until yesterday, only Dr. Crabbe and Mr. Shipley knew about the torpedo.
Yeah, because I massacred it. So that's why I had to fix it.
Didn't even notice, I'm sorry.
It isn't legally approved in this country, so it was kept secret from the police. It's illegal? Dr. Crabbe, I demand an explanation! Son of a gun. You and your big mouth, Mr. Lawyer. Yes, it's true. I'm using an illegal system to monitor the creatures at the aquarium.
The bird is...
Sniper is trying to do a reasonable diagnosis of me right now. It is quite adorable. The system uses sensors like these, and yes, there's one in the orca pool too. These sensors send sound waves through the water to gather data on the creatures. If it finds abnormalities in their condition, the torpedo alerts me with a sound. Oh my goodness, how very high-tech. But if it's illegal, I will not turn a blind eye. This matter will be appropriately dealt with at a separate time. Now then, Mr. Wright, please continue. With the torpedo, I'm sure Dr. Crabbe noticed the danger Orla was in, but he made no attempts to come to her aid on his own. And the reason for that is that Dr. Crabbe wanted Orla dead. The torpedo didn't give me a warning message. That's why I didn't know there was anything wrong with Orla. The sensor in the orca pool wasn't working during the police's investigation.
Objection!
Can you prove that statement?
Objection!
What's with him? He's practicing his Dr. Claw laugh now.
I guess this is all so high-tech for Prosecutor Blackwell that it's making him a little funny.
Funny? Yes, I find this all very funny. Witness, those sensors send sound waves through the water, correct? But what if there isn't any water?
Then they wouldn't work. They would automatically shut off. Switch off. Shut off, switch off.
I see. And where is the sensor in the orca pool located?
I don't know. Jack is the one who attached it for me.
You don't know? Then I will tell you. The police found a sensor just like the one you showed us. They found it attached to the table at the bottom of the pool.
Table? Do you mean the table in this photograph?
That's right. Don't you get it yet, Wright, Dono? The table is on the Skull Rock side of the partition. It's affixed to the bottom of the pool and can't be moved.
Oh. And so if the water was drained from the Skull Rock side of the pool...
Precisely. Without water, the torpedo sensor would not work. Witness, when did that sensor automatically switch off?
Hang on. I'll look it up. The only times lately were during cleaning 2 days ago and the investigation yesterday. Of course I knew the pool would be drained while they cleaned it. but I had no idea they drained it for the investigation. No one let me know. That's why I didn't know about Orla's condition yesterday. So Dr. Crab really did want to save Orla?
Did you hear that right, Dono? Yes, the water can be drained without harm to the orca if the partition is used. But if the water is drained from the skull rock side, the sensor turns itself off. If the sensor was always on except for during the cleaning and investigation, it means there must have been water in the pool at all of the times. It was never drained. In other words, no one but the defendant could have committed the crime.
Arg!
So we stuck in two chickens.
Order the court. This completely shatters the defense's argument. Gah, but the fact still remains that Orla was nearly killed with Dr. Crab's sleeping drug.
Objection!
But aren't you forgetting one important question? When was the sleeping drug given to the orca?
You're right. That hasn't been discussed yet, has it?
The orca pool is the scene of the murder. The police were there all day yesterday. The only way to give the drug to the orca undetected is to put it in her food. Yesterday, someone gave the orca food during the trial.
Someone did? I'm afraid I don't remember that. I do.
You don't remember? You're not that old yet, are you? It was the defendant, Sasha Buckler.
Arg! Way to redirect. So that is the orca that stands accused, is it? Aw, she's waving her flipper at us. Maybe she's cheering us on. Orla, wish Phoenix and Athena luck! So your argument is that Miss Buckler is the one who gave the orca the drug?
The prosecution's argument hasn't changed. Buckler made the victim fall to his death and then manipulated the orca to pin it on her. Still not satisfied, she further planned to kill the orca with a sleeping drug.
I didn't hear any reports of Dr. Crab feeding Orla. Maybe he didn't have a hand in Orla's attempted murder after all. Is there anybody else who could have fed Orla besides Sasha? Yes!
Yeah, the guy who has a bucket of fish at all times.
Yeah, and literally fed her after Sasha fed. He did that to the thing. If it's true the defendant is the one who fed the sleeping drug to the orca, then that places even more suspicion on her than ever.
Objection!
The defense objects to the prosecution's claims.
Well, you still haven't admitted defeat.
Prosecutor Blackwell, I don't appreciate the way you only mention the parts that are convenient for you. What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? The prosecutor failed to mention that Miss Buckler wasn't the only one to feed Orla. As you will all recall, there was another person who gave Orla food.
Oh, you mean that person?
Looks like Athena remembers now, too. If only my friends weren't so vague about it.
Congrats, Sasha. Time to celebrate. Go on, eat up.
Yeet the fish.
Yeah.
Fish.
Oh, Mr. Wright, no.
I don't want to believe it either, but we can't ignore the truth. The other person who fed Orla during the trial was...
Take that!
Please recall when Orla was found not guilty yesterday. Marlon Rhymes gave the orca a large quantity of food. If the sleeping drug was mixed in with that food, it could be given to the orca without arousing police suspicion. Now that you mention it, I do remember that flip-flopper feeding the orca. Okay.
Objection!
So you remembered, did you? I see the time for a true sword fight has come. I call Marlon Rhymes to the stand.
Mr. Lawyer, Both Miss Orca Lover and Marlon Rhymes are important members of our crew. I don't want to suspect either of them, but I'm ready to accept whatever truth you find. Here, take this. A charm.
It's the charm that matches the one that Zero Summers had, isn't it? So you and Miss Summers were romantically involved, weren't you, Dr. Crab?
What? No, of course not. Sorry to disappoint you, but this doesn't belong to me. At the time, I thought it was Azura's, so I grabbed it. But it wasn't hers. Now it's up to you, Mr. Lawyer, to figure out whose charm it is. I will. Thank you, Dr. Crab. After all, I'm interested in the outcome of this trial, too. Now then, please summon Marlon Rhymes to the witness stand.
What's going on? What's everybody making that face for? I've been watching the trial and nobody told me anything.
Marlon Rhymes, you are under suspicion for the attempted murder of the Orca.
I see. Well, if it's already out...
Mr. Rhymes? Is he really going to admit it?
Fine. I'll tell you the truth.
Will you now?
Sasha's lying to protect that orca. At 3:30 a.m. on the 20th, there was still water in that orca pool. The incident happened before the orca was moved to the show pool. Orla killed the captain by bashing him 30 feet high and making him slam into the water. So I thought the orca should pay for the consequences.
Now we're back to the Orca again? I did not see that testimony coming.
Now, wait just 1 minute. Yesterday, Orla was proven innocent. Besides, you said Orla was in the show pool during the cleaning.
I didn't want to sell Sasha out. That's why I didn't tell the truth. But the fact is, all three of us, the captain, Sasha, and me, were cleaning the pool room.
Dr. Pratt and Miss Buckler both said you were at the show stage.
Well, only thing Dr. Crab knew about the cleaning was what I told him. I didn't give him a whole lot of details either. Maybe he misunderstood. And Sasha is lying to protect the orca. She can't tell the truth. Sasha put blood on the skull rock herself to make the fake bloodstain. I think it's pretty brave of her to let herself get arrested for to protect the orca.
Mr. Rhymes, how could you lie like that?
It's the truth. Besides, wouldn't it be better for you if I wasn't lying? If the orca did it, you win your case.
What?
This is all very hard to believe. But if Mr. Rhymes' story is true, Miss Buckler would be innocent and the orca would be the killer. Meaning if we turned our backs on Orla, we could save Sasha?
Having a witness lie to save your own client? What a dirty, underhanded tactic, Wright, Dono.
Objection!
Yesterday, the defense proved Orla was not guilty. We have no intention of going back on our assertions now.
What are you saying, Mr. Wright? All you gotta do is admit the orca did it and Sasha goes free. Isn't the lawyer supposed to act in his client's best interest?
But that wouldn't be acting in her interest. Miss Buckler believes Orla is innocent. And we, of course, believe that Miss Buckler herself is innocent, too. Acting in the client's best interest is an important part of our job as lawyers. Using dirty means to win a verdict would destroy our client's faith in us.
That's right. We believe in both Miss Buckler and Orla's innocence.
Huh? I just don't understand how you can treat a human and an orca equally. Sasha or the orca? You can only save one of them.
I don't know about that. I think I can save them both. All I have to do is disprove your testimony.
Oh yeah? Then go ahead and try.
I will do just that. If I can't tear down his testimony, I won't be able to save both of them. I have to find a weak spot and start tearing. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple. was still water in the orca pool.
Here, I'll grab it.
The incident happened before the orca was moved to the show pool. Orla killed the captain by bashing him 30 feet high and making him slam into the water. But it was established that he dropped from a 65-foot fall, not a 35-foot.
Yeah.
Objection!
When lies are piled on top of each other, contradictions start to emerge. This time is no different.
Are you saying there's some kind of inconsistency in my testimony?
That's exactly what I'm saying. You claim that the victim was sent flying about 30 feet into the air. But the autopsy report shows the apparent cause of death to be a 65-foot fall.
What?
Additionally, in your testimony a moment ago, you said at 3:30 a.m. on the 20th, there was still water in the orca pool. With the pool being 65 feet deep, there's only 30 feet between the water and ceiling. If the pool was full of water, as you claimed, it would be impossible for the victim to fall about 65 feet, as the autopsy states.
Ugh!
Mr. Rhymes claimed he was in the orca pool room so he could make these statements. But the truth must be he was at the show stage, just as Dr. Crab and Sasha testified. I believe that brings us back around to the orca didn't do it.
I didn't believe the witness's testimony from the outset. I'm grateful to you, Wright, for shutting the witness up, as I thought the only person who could have killed the victim is Sasha Buckler. That fact still remains, whether the witness was the one who tried then to kill the orca or not.
Son of a...
Mr. Rhymes was right about one thing. His testimony was advantageous to our case. But pointing out the contradiction in his statement will only drive us into a corner. As Prosecutor Blackwell said, suspicion against Miss Buckler has now deepened. Uh-oh. If I don't do something fast, the judge is going to find Sasha guilty.
That's right. Isn't there anything we can do? There has to be a way to prove Sasha is innocent.
At a time like this, the thing to do is turn my thinking around. Instead of trying to prove that Sasha couldn't have done it, I have to think about what made it possible for somebody else to have done it.
Is it high-speed mode or just regular turnaround thing?
Yeah, I don't know. As long as the crime scene is the orca pool room, then Sasha is the only one who could have committed the crime.
Oh, that's right. High-speed mode only happens in the final act, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
No need for pity, Your Baldness. Just finish him off with a swift verdict.
It appears the defense has no objections. Very well. I will give my verdict. You didn't give me a chance to object, Your Honor. Please hold off on that verdict. But you were so quiet, Mr. Wright. Do you have something to say now? The defense has a counter-argument. You do?
Pitiful. Such desperation. You look pale. Are you sure you're prepared to make this counter-argument?
The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. I'll never forget those words, no matter how many years go by. Even though it's probably just a bluff, I'll give it to them with a smile. What if the scene of the crime was somewhere else? The scene of the crime?
Somewhere else.
What? You're finding fault with the police investigation now?
As I understand it, the prosecution's argument is as follows. The scene of the crime was the orca pool room. Only the defendant and victim entered that room when there was no water in the pool. Therefore, only the defendant could have committed the crime.
That is correct.
But if the scene of the crime was not the orca pool room, then somebody else other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
Look, that courage in my run. Hold on. are you sure you know where you're going with this?
I might not be too sure, but I can't back down now.
Zyka, stop eating Athena's hair.
Mr. Wright, I hope that I'm wrong, but this isn't one of your bluffs by any chance. Of course not. The judge knows me far too well. And do you have a theory on where the actual scene of the crime was? Yes, of course. Think, Phoenix, think.
The showroom.
Think of the place other than the Orca Pool room, where one could fall to one's death. Then, by all means, please share your theory with the court. Where was the real scene of the murder?
The showroom.
Show pool.
Take that!
There's only one other place, yeah.
The show stage pool might have been drained of water at some point as well. And if so, it would be just as possible for one to fall to one's death there as the Orca pool.
Right, Dono. What you're doing is a disgrace to your profession. I sincerely hope you have some basis for what you are suggesting.
Of course I do. I will as soon as I think of something.
The victim's body was found in the Orca pool. How do you explain that?
Objection!
How about if, after the victim was killed in the show stage pool, his body was moved to the Orca pool? How about if? What kind of presentation of your argument is that? You had better have a reasonable explanation of how the body was moved. There's no turning back now. I have to think of a way the body could have been moved. Was there something at the scene that could have been used to move... Phoenix.
The stretcher.
Phoenix.
Well, that, yeah.
Phoenix.
Take that!
The hoist runs between the Orca pool room and the show stage. The stretcher can be hung from the hoist to move things like Orla or the Skull Rock. I mean, you weren't wrong about the stretcher.
Yeah.
The stretcher could also have been used to move a dead body.
Wait, was the stretcher also an option you could have chosen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it only was the crane, because, like, the stretcher is a part of it, but what was the thing that actually moved
Yeah.
it? Yes, if the stretcher can move the Orca or the Skull Rock, it seems likely it could also move a dead body as well. Wow, somehow that worked. I just might be able to pull this off. If the show pool was the scene of the crime, somebody else could have done it.
Objection!
You desperately spew conjecture, and now you even make up a crime scene.
Oh no,
Oh,
he's
no.
loose!
Oh no.
You don't have the soul of a warrior. You don't deserve to be on the battlefield. And even your fabrication is half-baked. It's a disgrace.
What do you mean, half-baked?
The hoist can be operated from the Orca pool room only. And the only person who entered the Orca pool room was the defendant. So even if the body was moved, the only one who could have moved it was the defendant herself.
She could have moved it under the guise that it wasn't the body.
Yeah, I mean, she admitted to moving the rock, and where was the body found by the Orca?
It was, oh yeah, so maybe the body was inside the rock.
Yeah, and she didn't. You can't tell if something's in there.
Yeah. Order, so it comes back to the defendant no matter which pool it was. Meaning I can't clear Sasha either way. Sasha said she moved Orla and the Skull Rock. And I believe her. So could it be possible that she moved the body herself without being aware of it? Mr. Wright, do you have an objection to Prosecutor Blackwell's claim? Do I have an objection to the claim that the defendant moved the body? I have no objections. I have no objections. Miss Buckler must have been the one to move the body.
What?
Mr. Wright, are you admitting the defendant committed the murder? No. I'm simply conceding that she was the only one who could have moved the body. However, I contend Miss Buckler was not aware that that is what she was doing. The culprit made her move it unbeknownst to her. The defendant moved the dead body without recognizing that it was a dead body? How could that be possible? The body was found in the Orca pool. It must have been moved there somehow. I might find some kind of hint in the things she moved with the stretcher. The culprit made Miss Buckler move the body along with this piece of evidence.
The skull rock. It was too heavy for her to lift herself. She had to lift it with the stretcher.
I'm gonna use the rock.
Take that!
The skull rock? Miss Buckler told me yesterday that she moved the skull rock when she was cleaning. The only two things Miss Buckler moved to the Orca pool are Orla and the skull rock. I would like to suggest that the victim's body may have been inside the skull rock. What? Hidden inside the rock, the body could have been moved to the Orca pool with the hoist. At the show stage, Marlon Rhymes loaded up the skull rock with the body inside. And then he used the walkie-talkie to let Miss Buckler know the rock was loaded. Miss Buckler operated the hoist from the Orca pool room and moved the stretcher. She moved the rock without knowing the body was inside. Do you really think there's enough space inside the skull rock to place a body? The swashbuckler flyer indicates it could be possible. Please focus on the question at the bottom left.
Who will obtain the gold coins hidden in the skull rock?
Oh, it says, who will obtain the gold coins hidden in the skull rock? In that case, I suppose the rock is most likely hollow. What's more, if the body was inside the skull rock, it explains the remaining unanswered questions. Such as... Please take a look at the security footage of the scene Mr. Plume witnessed. Where did the body that Mr. Plume saw come from? Please recall, what was Orla doing to the skull rock at this time? She was headbutting it. Oh, that's right. Orla's ramming released the body from the skull rock. The body had been placed inside the skull rock and moved there from the show stage. I assert that the real murder scene was, in fact, the show stage pool.
Silence!
What rubbish is this now? You don't have a single scrap of evidence.
Objection!
It's easy enough to verify what I say. Take a look inside the skull rock for yourself. You should find some kind of proof that the body was there. Blood, fibers, hair.
Ah! Right, Dodo.
You dare attack me with hair?
You dare use my spells against me, Potter.
Mr. Wright, that was incredible. You turned things completely around. And to think, they all started with that half-baked bluff, too.
Phew, that was a close one. Did you really have to add that last bit?
Yes.
If the murder took place at the show stage, then who is the perpetrator? It is naturally the person who was at the show stage. Mr. Rhymes, weren't you the one who loaded the skull rock onto the stretcher at the show stage?
Wow, Mr. Wright, that was some pretty smart brain work you did there. To be honest, I never thought you could figure it out. I tried to protect myself, but I guess it came back to bite me.
Are you confessing you gave false testimony before, Mr. Rhymes? That's perjury.
Yeah. What Mr. Wright says is true. The body was inside the skull rock. And it's true the captain was killed in the showroom pool, too.
What? He's admitting it that easily?
This time, I'm going to tell you the whole truth about what happened that day.
Oh, yeah? Let's see about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's
all
the whole truth.
In the show pool, the orca shot the captain up into the air. Then the captain came down and slammed into the water. I can still remember the spectators' screams clearly. All Sasha did was move the body. She was trying to protect the orca. When Mr. Plume witnessed the orca finding the body, I freaked.
And not the freaky-deaky kind of freak. So now we're back to the orca again, I see.
If you were going to give the testimony like that, why did I bother putting you on the stand?
All I'm doing is telling the truth. That day, Sasha wanted to do the old version of the Swashbuckler Spectacular. So I suggested she hide the body in the skull rock and move it to the orca pool. I was gonna figure out what to do with the body after the show was over. The Orca's the one that killed the captain. It wasn't me, and it wasn't Sasha.
So it was Mr. Rhymes' idea to hide the body in the Skull Rock? But if Mr. Rhymes is the culprit, why would he protect Sasha? False charges against Sasha would mean he himself would escape suspicion, so why?
Mr. Wright, how about you leave this to me?
Athena? Do you mean you heard something?
Yep, noise, discord in Mr. Rhymes' heart.
So that means somewhere in his testimony there's an inconsistency in his emotions. Alright, Athena, give him a good counseling session.
You got it, boss.
No problema, boss.
Huh? What's this?
What are you getting?
This testimony is pretty complex. Feelings of deep sadness and intense anger are being called up. Those two emotions appear to be running out of control.
Out of control emotions? Is that going to be a problem?
We'll have to probe their cause if we want to get to his true emotions and testimony. There might even be odd or unnatural spots in his testimony he isn't even aware of.
Alright, let's probe for the cause of his out-of-control emotions then.
I'll explain how to probe. Let's find the root cause together.
Okay, we know what to do, so they're just gonna skip this.
Yeah, this technically was intended to be your first case.
Alright, let's do it. It was just telling us how to probe for these things again. Since we've played the game already, we already know.
Hey, I've been abducted by aliens. I know what probing is.
Exactly. In the show pool, the orca shot the captain up into the air. Then the captain came down and slammed into the water. I can still remember the spectator's screams clearly. All Sasha did was move the body. She was trying to protect the orca. When Mr. Plume witnessed the orca finding the body and freaked. Okay, so the big thing here is what could be causing either the intense fear or sadness or the intense anger. In this case, seeing the body, the fear would be from the spectators. Like, what would people think if they saw that?
Yeah. If the spectators saw it, though, there would be more witnesses, but there aren't any.
Well, it's also another case that, like, there would be something that would have been a problem to that.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt there were any spectators there at the show stage when the owner died. If there had been, those witnesses would have told us the true crime scene right away.
What? Oh, right. Of course. I just made a mistake.
Either that, or you're mixing it up with another orca incident that happened.
Okay, that made the sadness subside. So maybe the spectator's part was what was making him sad?
Wonder why he would make that mistake. Saying spectators were there. How strange.
The only thing I can think of is that he was mixing up one memory with another. Like he was in a similar situation before, and it was deeply imprinted on his heart.
Situation where an orca killed somebody and there were spectators there? Hey, I think I know why he's mixing up his memories. The reason why Mr. Rhymes mixed up his memories is...
The charm! No?
No, it's the book. Because that is literally an event that happened, and it was a non-fiction thing written by Norma DePlume.
The killer whale.
The killer whale. Mr. Rhymes, I think I know what happened. Could you have been mixing up what happened a year ago with this incident? Maybe that's why you slipped and said the owner was killed in front of spectators?
What? How did you... You're right. I did see the orca kill somebody a year ago. But what about it? I was just one of the spectators.
Really? Just another spectator? There must be a reason why you felt great sadness about that incident last year.
Silence!
Stop this nonsensical scrutiny of feelings. Just present evidence to prove your point.
Boss, do we have any kind of evidence that would back us up here?
There is one piece that comes to mind. The one piece that comes to mind that might explain his sadness.
Well, I'm waiting. The charm!
It's the charm.
Yeah.
Take that!
Azura Summers died an accidental death 1 year ago. This is her boyfriend's charm.
Hey, what are you doing with that charm?
It was found in Rifle's stomach yesterday. Judging by your reaction, I believe this charm belongs to you.
I guess I need to push him just a little harder to make him admit it.
My voice got very girly there for a second.
Oh. Well, I thought penis was...
It's okay.
When Mr. Rhymes said the word charm, he was very rattled.
Also, that was very good ventriloquism of my voice.
We better examine this charm a little more.
Good idea. Let's look inside. Let's look inside it. Huh? What's this? A photograph.
Look at this photograph. Yeah, okay. You can't hide that now.
Hey, this is Azure Summers and Marlon Rhymes. Yo, man, Marlon, you're pretty cringe in here, bro.
Mr. Rhymes, you and Azura Summers were a couple, weren't you?
So what if we were a couple? It doesn't have anything to do with the captain's case.
You believe you saw the orca kill your girlfriend. That's the cause of your sadness. Isn't that emotion of yours connected to the current case?
Silence! The only thing that you revealed was the witness's connection to the victim of last year's incident. What does the witness's past have to do with the case at hand?
I don't know yet.
But we managed to pinpoint the source of his sadness. Now let's delve into who Mr. Rhymes is angry at.
Gee, I wonder who he's angry at. In the shovel pool, the orca shot the cat, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. Water. I can still remember the captain's dead body clearly. All Sasha did was move the body. She was trying to protect the orca. When Mr. Plume witnessed the orca finding the body, I freaked. Yeah, so either on this statement or the first statement, which are the only two that Orla is present in. Because, well, if Azura was killed by the orca, he's probably mad at Orla, even though he's probably mistaking Orla for another orca.
Yeah.
Mr. Rhymes, you're angry at Orla, aren't you?
Angry? At an orca? Why would I be? If you think I had some reason to be mad, then show me some proof.
Do I have proof that Mr. Rhymes had a reason to be mad? I've got you. Why'd you have to backhand me, bro? I'm right here. You could have just showed me it. I bet that evidence we just took a look at would come in handy here. This charm indicates that you were Azura Summers' boyfriend. I'm sure you believe Orla killed your girlfriend a year ago. You lost your girlfriend, and so you've been angry at Orla.
Alright, I'll admit it. I'll never forgive that orca. Azura's dead, and that orca is still swimming around happy as a clam. I became an animal keeper just so I could prove that Orla is a killer. You're right. I want that orca to pay. There, do you feel good dragging up a person's past? But it still doesn't change anything.
To answer your first question, yes.
Changes everything.
Ah, he's right.
I disagree. It does change things. His out of control emotion quieted down. Now we should be able to find out the truth behind that emotion.
In the shovel, the captain came down. I still remember the captain's dead body clearly. All Sasha did was move the body. She was trying to protect the orca.
Why is he more scared of the body being on top of the water than he is of her discovering the body?
There's actually something else too that's more noticeable. When Mr. Plume witnessed the orca finding the body, you freaked out, and yet you're not showing any surprise at all.
Got it!
When Mr. Plume witnessed the orca finding the body, you freaked. Really?
What are you getting at?
With Mr. Plume as a witness, Orla was guaranteed to be accused of the murder. Didn't it work out exactly as you hoped? In order to have Orla put down, you made sure Mr. Plume witnessed that scene. Jeez almighty, man. Who does he think he is? Emperor Palpatine? With that face? That face.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sorry, I had to add my own feeling. Bizoy. No, wait, I'm not that silly walkie-talkie fella.
So you figured all that out, did you?
Mr. Rhymes, are you admitting it?
I didn't really want to have to fight anybody but the orca. But you leave me no choice.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I love this.
Now it's time to get serious. Ahoy! What? Yo, 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 ho, ho! Yo! Ahoy, me brothers present a vast you grass eaters. Can't read that fast. I cannot read that fast.
Wow, his character completely changed from the upbeat guy who...
He juiced!
What is going on? Where did this pirate fellow come from? Was your One Piece joke actually on the mark earlier? He looks like a completely different person. He literally looks like he walked out of an anime. One of my Japanese animes. Order. If we don't have order, Prosecutor Blackwell will yell at us. Even Prosecutor Blackwell is at a loss for words.
So I plan to have that wench be a witness? You caught me out. It'd be true that I thought that orca's murderous ways should be found out. But that's why I schemed to have the Plume see the body.
So you admit it? You deliberately framed Orla?
It'd be true. But what skin be had off of anybody's nose? That orca be a murdering scurvy dog. I may have a grudge against the orca, but I always felt grateful towards the captain. The orca murdered Azora and the captain, so of course she should walk the plank.
I don't have a response to that.
Obviously, the orca.
I agree it wouldn't make any sense for him to kill the owner. Why would he?
Go ahead now. What was your statement?
I said it's obvious the orca didn't do it. It's a question of who now has
Yeah.
the opportunity and the reason.
Yeah.
Wait, after supper, I bought everybody a bag of that.
Right.
But his hatred for Orla, on the other hand, comes through loud and clear.
Wait a minute. If killing Mr. Shipley doesn't make sense, who would it make sense for Rhymes to kill? Maybe my theory has been all wrong. Your Honor, I think I just became aware of a new fact. Oh? And what is that? Now that we know about Mr. Rhymes' intense hatred of Orla, it turns the premise we've been arguing on its ear. I will now reveal the identity of the individual Mr. Rhymes meant to kill from the start.
The other orca.
No, just the orca, period.
Yeah.
Take that!
What? So the witness's intent was to kill the orca? Exactly. The witness's intended victim was not Jack Shipley. From the start, it was all a scheme to kill Orla.
The orca was his true target, but Jack Shipley is the one who died. The orca is alive and quite well.
He's right. He wanted to kill the orca, and yet it was Jack Shipley who fell to his death. How did that happen? Wait a minute. What if Mr. Rhymes wanted to kill Orla was somehow connected to Mr. Shipley's death?
At a loss for words, are you? What happened to your bravado of a moment ago?
Enough of these...
So, enough of these reckless words without any basis in fact.
Objection!
They aren't reckless words. The basis for my claim is at the real murder scene, the show pool.
What are you talking about?
It's my contention that 2 incidents happened at the show pool. The attempted murder of the orca and the victim falling to his death. First of all, in order to kill the orca, Mr. Rives removed something from the scene. And by doing so, it made it possible for Mr. Shipley to fall to his death. He did what now? Mr. Wright, what did Mr. Rives remove in an attempt to kill Orla?
The water.
The water. I don't think I even needed to move the thing.
Don't tell me you're trying to claim that he tried to kill the orca by draining the pool water.
That's exactly what I'm claiming. To help the defendant with the cleaning, Marlon Rimes took charge of Orla, with the plan to kill Orla in the show pool. And because the pool water was drained, it made it possible for Jack Shipley to fall to his death in the show pool. Yeah.
Arr, I tried to kill the orca, you say? Can you prove it? It was nary a drop of water in the pool. That day I was simply looking for the orca, after the orca. Why would I have monstrous thought of killing it?
Objection!
I can't separate the voice from him and
You claim you were looking after Orla in the early morning hours of July 20th. But I don't think you were doing a very good job at it. After all, Orla wasn't given anything to eat during that time.
Why would you know such? Why would you know such? How would you know such a thing?
I know because of Orla's record here in the torpedo data system. This system continuously records data on the subjects it monitors. From Orla's record, we can tell exactly when she ate or didn't eat.
Sink me! Nobody's ever told me about that dastardly contraption.
Only a few of the Shipshape Aquarium staff know about this system. According to Orla's record, she never ate in those early morning hours of the 20th. You planned to kill Orla, and that's why you didn't feed her.
silence. Good voice on the thing without doing his voice at the same time. It's frustrating.
You're wasting your time. What proof do you have of that? Perhaps the orca simply wasn't hungry?
He's right. I don't have any proof.
If Orla simply didn't eat, that would create an inconsistency. Where did her fish go?
Maybe someone ate her food? Someone who's known for stealing her food? Where is it? Oh, wait. I don't think we have a picture of her.
Not.
That's
right.
weird. I thought we did. Could have sworn we did in our evidence. Huh. Oh, her fish? Good question. Where did it disappear to?
Fish, what does it matter? What relevance does it have to the case? Cease this stalling with inconsequential questions. Stop delving into the depths of the orca's stomach and delve into the case instead.
Objection!
But wait, it may seem like a small inconsistency, but it's an issue of great importance, I think. What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? How could the fish disappear? Somebody must have eaten it. So who came to the show stage and ate Orla's fish? I think I might have a pretty good idea. I believe there must have been a visitor to the show stage that Mr. Rimes didn't notice.
Visitor? Are you trying to introduce yet another suspect at this 11th hour? If you utter more of your ceaseless remarks, Taka won't look favorably upon it.
I don't plan to utter any careless remarks. Whether my remarks are actually to be related to the case or not, I don't know yet.
Don't worry, boss. If Taka comes this way, I'll fend him off. But do try to keep your remarks careful.
Somehow Orla's fish disappeared. Somebody must have visited the show stage, but who? This was the visitor at the show stage.
Rifle!
Rifle. I believe Rifle the Penguin visited the show stage. First an orca, now a penguin?
Why would you be saying such a thing, Mr. Lawyer? I can't do his voice.
I didn't see Rifle during the wee early
Yeah,
morning
you do it.
hours.
This is better. You can do it better.
Do you have any proof Rifle visited the show stage? If ye be a lawyer of any sort, show me your evidence. The bottom of Rifle's feet were pink for some reason. That fact is a clue that Rifle was indeed at the show stage. I have to present that piece of evidence that connects Rifle to the show stage. Now to prove I'm a lawyer worth my salt. This is the proof that Rifle visited the show stage.
The sign.
Take that!
Oh my, what a cute little sign. Look at all those adorable stars. These stars are actually starfish. Miss Buckler painted this sign. Okay. In the early morning hours of the 20th, she left the sign at the show stage to dry. Mr. Rhymes kept an eye on the sign for Miss Buckler while the paint was drying. Aye, that be true, but what be your point? On this sign is proof that Rifle visited the show stage. Proof of the penguin's visit? I'm afraid I don't see it. Where is this proof that the penguin visited the show stage? Please point it out.
You know, the footprint.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
Take that!
A couple of the pink starfish are shaped a little differently from the others. Ah, you're right. They look almost like little leaves. Rifle had pink paint on the bottom of her feet. These little leaf-like shapes on this sign are actually Rifle's footprints. Rifle made these footprints by walking on the sign before it was dry. Oh-ho, what cute little pink penguin prints.
So there are footprints. What of them?
Marlon Rhymes was watching over this sign at the show stage while the paint dried. And during that time, the penguin paid a visit. According to the torpedo data system, we know that Rifle ate something that morning of the 20th. Most likely, Rifle ate the fish meant for Orla that was at the show stage. Orla's snack was a small quantity of fish even a penguin could have eaten it all. Egad, Rifle ate Orla's fish? Who be ye to say Rifle ate Orla's fish? She could have picked up food anywhere. But that doesn't change the fact that I was really at the show stage. After all, I had to help move the Skull Rock. It couldn't have been moved without me.
The witness claims he never saw the penguin. How do you explain this contradiction?
Both Mr. Rhymes and Rifle were at the show stage, but Mr. Rhymes didn't see her. So where could Mr. Rhymes have been at the time?
Right, Dono. If you aren't up to the task, I could disprove this witness's testimony for you.
I leave it to Prosecutor Blackwell. Sasha will be declared guilty. I can't let him interrupt this line of reasoning.
Mr. Wright, let's try to figure out how things looked when Rifle came to the show stage.
Mr. Rhymes was at the show stage keeping an eye on Orla and the sign. But we know it must be true because he helped move the Skull Rock. And then Rifle came in and walked over the sign.
But would Mr. Rhymes notice Rifle if he was right there?
Well, let's think about where Mr. Rhymes could have been. Is there a place in the show stage area from which Rifle could not have been seen?
The ladder.
Actually, just the water itself.
Okay.
Because, like, if he's down there, you can't really see her up there.
Mm-hmm.
Take that!
What? Inside the pool? But you're right. If he was inside the pool, he wouldn't have noticed Rifle. So are you saying Mr. Rhymes was underwater the whole time Rifle was eating?
No, not underwater. When I think about it, it was what he was trying to do. The answer is clear. Now I'm finally starting to get the whole picture.
Just like yesterday. Must you two always be whispering to each other? Why don't you admit that resorting to a penguin will get you nowhere?
Objection!
Oh, I don't know about that. The fact that Mr. Rhymes didn't notice Rifle is such a small inconsistency. But it's the key point that proves what Mr. Rhymes was trying to do.
The penguin is a key point.
The show stage pool is very deep. If Rifle came to visit while Mr. Rhymes was at the bottom of this pool, he would have never noticed Rifle. Yarr! Orcas can be out of the water for a short time without sustaining damage. But if they're out of the water for a long time, they weaken and eventually die. In order to kill Orla, Mr. Rhymes had to drain the pool. And while the pool was drained of water, Mr. Shipley fell to his death. The show stage pool is about 65 feet deep, just like the Orca pool. Without water in the pool, a person could be made to fall 65 feet. Mr. Rhymes probably wondered what to do. If he continued with his plan to kill Orla, how would he dispose of Mr. Shipley's body? So he devised a plan to kill two birds with one stone. What? How? Mr. Rhymes went down to the bottom of the pool and put the victim's body in the rock. He then had Miss Buckler move the rock and body together.
Silence.
And the witness made the defendant do this somehow without arousing her suspicion.
That's right. Mr. Shipley told Miss Buckler that she couldn't perform in the new show. Miss Buckler became upset and wanted to switch back to the old version of the show. So Mr. Rhymes conveniently suggested that she take and hide the prop for the new show. Mr. Rhymes then manipulated Orla using her singing and lifesaver techniques. He schemed to have Orla find the body while Mr. Plume would be standing witness. He saddled Orla with the false charge of murder so that Orla would be put down.
What?
So the fact that the witness didn't see the penguin shows that when Rifle visited the show stage, Rhymes was putting the body in the rock. At the bottom of the pool, that is. Who would have thought the presence of the penguin could prove the witness's actions? It's working. Just a little further now, it's actually proven not guilty.
Silence.
I got it.
Okie dokie, boy.
See ya.
Boy.
If you think you won this battle, you are sorely mistaken. Your theory is based on the notion that the witness could manipulate the orca. Witness, can you control the orca's actions?
Of course not. What kind of bilges be that? I be but a simple animal tape. If my memory serves, wasn't Miss Butler the only one who could issue commands to the orca?
The judge's blade is sharper than the lawyer's. Video!
It could record whistle blows.
You wish to do battle with a witness, you'll need a honed blade. Where is your sword of evidence that Marlon Rhymes could manipulate the orca?
Ah, my invisible hair! I like how you see, beside Phoenix with his mask on, you see Athena with her droopy stance.
Yeah. Rhymes had to have manipulated Orla in order for his plan to work. But how can I prove it? Well, it appears this line of reasoning has become unsustainable.
Objection!
Well, it appears that I was mistaken. Athena?
I've analyzed the hearts of all kinds of people. I have enough experience to see when I look into your heart that you haven't given up. So that objection was my way of speaking up for your heart.
She's right. Why would I become a lawyer again? Only to give up. I have to keep fighting. Athena, thank you. With your help, I've remembered the old right way.
The right way?
Your Honor, I'm not finished with presenting my argument. Do you have anything else to ask this witness?
You've cross-examined all the witnesses and presented all your evidence.
Objection!
All the witnesses? I don't think so. I haven't cross-examined the most important one, the central figure in both cases.
the central figure?
The one involved in not only the case a year ago, but this current case too. I've never called her as a witness, but it's time to do so now. Who are you talking about? I demand you tell the court immediately. Who is the central figure in both cases?
Yes, no, yes, no. The Orca!
Here we go!
Take that!
First aboard, now the Orca.
The defense calls the central figure of both cases Orla the Orca. You intend to cross-examine an orca? Cross-examine an orca? Ye must be adult. It be impossible, says I. Buddy, I cross-examined a parrot. You have no grounds here.
This absurdity is beyond the pale. How do you expect a question on Orca, a creature incapable of speech?
Objection!
Orla is intricately involved in this case. I have every right to cross-examine. Besides, even if she can't speak, I think cross-examining her will be invaluable.
Very well, do what you want, and will then.
Do what you want, what you really, really want.
Now tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna. But if you fail to garner anything from this little exercise with the Orca, I hope you realize the reward for your efforts will be the defendant's guilty verdict.
Also, how dare you saddle me with those unnecessary feelings? I'm ready and confident.
So, cross-examining Orla, huh? That was a bold move, boss. Now all we have to do is figure out how Mr. Rhymes manipulated Orla.
That's right. Now it's Orla's turn to help us save Sasha. An Orca defendant yesterday and Orca witness today. This is truly unprecedented. But even though this is highly unusual, I'm prepared to allow it. Bailiff, bring the witness telecast. Ready?
I'll allow it.
We'll have a 10-minute recess while the telecast is being set up.
Where's the bite mark on the fish?
And now, we will cross-examine the Orca next time on Game Grumps.
Yeah.
I know I hate to leave it here, but it's the to-be-continued part, and I know a certain bearded somebody who's going to shank me if I don't let him have his turn. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and